Her eyes began to tear in extreme pain. Next second, Patricia opened the door. "Mom, what happened?" Tears rolled down her cheek. She hurriedly entered the house and shut the door. She gripped her daughter to her chest, then put her to soft arms around her neck and hugged her. "Mom, are you okay?" Patricia whispered. "I should have heeded when you called my attention to Brookhaven," said Amelia. "Olivia is missing because of me." Then she continued, "You're right, baby. The mutants are suckers, and now they've taken my darling Olivia." "What?" Patricia whispered. "It's heartbreaking," said Amelia, "but I know of an old professor, a huntswoman. She can help us." "Is she a witch?" Patricia asked in desperation. "She's a hunter, and I strongly believe that the mutants are just mere underdogs," said Amelia in consolation. "A professor, a hunter," Patricia boomed. "You're only 12, you barely know her. So, wait until you see her." "All right," Amelia mumbled. "Okay," said Patricia. "I'll be back by evening. Don't speak to no one, and don't open the door at all," she muttered. To her relief, she still had a few hours before evening to sneak out and make it to the cave where the professor lives. The professor is 67, and has lived in a cave called Second Bell, which located at Desert Golf Club for 33 years. It isn't really clear what the professor hunts and how she manages to hunt at that age. Amelia thought she could really help her. Next hour, Amelia is in the middle of the desert, a wasteland considered to be the deadliest desert in NY, a barren area of landscape. It's around sunset already, the hour of the full moon. On the other side of the wasteland, it looks like a pack of wolves coming off the landscape. When she drew nigh carelessly and disturbed them, they made a swift splash and signaled with their tails. She was encircled by a pack of she-wolves. "Somebody help me," she yelled in agony. As if that wasn't enough, she yelled yet again, "Somebody help me." Something interesting happened. Among the wolves was an oldest she-wolf, 14 years and still kicking. The oldest she-wolf attacked from behind and left a nasty bite on her left leg. Amelia fell down, gripping her leg, and began to bleed profusely. She held her breath, hoping it back to bite her again. Her voice stifled and a tear dropped down her face. She was gasping for breath. She took a deep breath and sat up snappily. Immediately, there stood from afar what looked like a tall figure lounged against a huge oak tree. She gazed at the figure, screaming, "Help!" As if that wasn't enough, she dragged her leg in anguish, approaching the figure, until her gaze fell to a figure snooping like a dark gargoyle in the middle of the white lawn. Snuggling close, she lifted her face to the figure, and all she could see was a weird bear. "No, no, no, no," she cried out. The figure was a bit dim for her to make out its facial features. She wiped off her face as though there's dirt on it. Then she gazed again. "Professor, Professor," she was right. Hunter Bella Isabella, who is also a professor, was the figure she mistook for a bear. She has been leaning on a walking stick. Immediately, she tapped Amelia with her walking stick. Back out, Bella shrieked. "Professor Bella," said Amelia, "help me." Amelia, trials and tribulations elicit little sympathy. The professor struggled to lift her a little, and it worked. She lifted and carried her towards a cave. They had walked a mile or two when they came to the edge of a narrow and deep ravine located inside the Bell Witch. Bella dressed her wound with a rosette of fleshy, oblong leaves. Ginkgo biloba, herbal medicine used for many years in Chinese medicine. Amelia was slightly unconscious for an hour. When she woke up, it was in the middle of the night. She did not exactly realize how serious the situation was. She tried to stand up, but she felt dry and her voice was barely a whisper. "What is this place?" she whispered. The old professor felt that Amelia would know more about everything later on, so she opened up. "This is my home, girl," said Bella, the old professor, but then she continued, "What the hell were you doing in a barren land all by yourself? Did you realize how dangerous this zone is? Did you even realize the cup you've drunk from?" Amelia stared at her, scared shitless to talk. Few minutes later, her body began to shake heavily. She felt sudden pain in her inside. "What's wrong with me?" She thought she was going to die. Then she yelled, "Professor, talk to me." The old professor gripped her cheeks and watched her eyes for signs. Her eyes were glowing pink and deep black. The professor felt like telling her the truth. "In an hour your metamorphosis starts, but I need to advise you." She took a pause and asked if Amelia had a daughter. Amelia's response was yes. She asked if Amelia loved her daughter. Amelia's response was yes. She continued, in the last 3 minutes before your transformation, you have to imagine the connection, the love, the good memories you have with your daughter and really hold it till you can't hold it any longer. I don't understand, said Amelia. Why and to what am I turning to? Again, the old professor felt like telling her, it's the full moon, girl. You were bitten by the oldest she-wolf during the full moon. You are the last survivor. Ordinarily, you should be dead, but... She paused and nodded her head. But what? Amelia asked anxiously. The old professor continued. The oldest she-wolf among the pack would have to regenerate after her passing away, but a host is needed for her regeneration. You've been choosing through infection. You won't die, but during the full moon you will always transform, girl. And Amelia. She was gasping heavily and her heartbeat was like the sound of a bear. The rush hour has come. Her heartbeat appeared too noisy in her ears. Her stomach fluttered, her body sweat. Her skin was starting to peel. Her voice was unsteady. She started off thinking of her connection with her daughter, her love and her memories. After the yell of a host came the strongest tones of a wolf call. The pain in her arm became more and more intense. Her skin turned pale and withered. Her body took on a new shape. A werewolf first transformation is always extremely sorrowful and slow, lasting over 5 hours, and it is almost like torture. Amelia turned into a she-wolf. The wolf growled and exposed its razor-like fangs. The wolf was mad and aggressive and full of rage. Bella chained the wolf securely to the post. Few seconds passed, and Bella thought to feed her with ground beef. It took a while to tame her. Next morning, the sun beats with severe heat. The old professor thought to blindfold her. As soon as the blindfold was applied, the professor dragged her out to the sun and pulled off the blindfold. The sun shone right into the wolf's face. She started experiencing muscle ache. She would transform back to human in 3 hours. Naturally, werewolves transform back to their human form by the splash of sunlight. The professor stood watching her transform. As soon as Amelia returned back to human, she noticed a chain on her neck. She was naked and confused like hell. She stared at the professor in desperation. Professor, what happened here? Why am I on a chain? The professor felt like telling her the reason she's on a chain. She called her into the cave. Congratulations, said the professor. You scaled the first test.